Hey everyone, Wench here, and this video is a little tutorial that I threw together a while ago on how to use the appearance menu and Charlie lights to light up a background in Cyberpunk 2077. I have mostly shifted to using Cyberlit almost exclusively now, and originally I did have that included with this video, but at the time that I had recorded it, I had just gone back to using Cyberlit after about 4 years of not using it. So it's really rough around the edges and I decided to not include it. The Charlie and AMM lights are also free to use. You just have to be able to install mods. So I figured that focusing just on those for this video would probably be more helpful to most people. And as always with any method that I share when it comes to virtual photography, this is not meant to be the definitive method. This isn't meant to be the only method that you can ever use. If you have something different that works for you, that is awesome. I'm just sharing this for those who are curious about my method and in case it helps them. So to start, I'm going to drop a Charlie spotlight on Valerie just so that she's a little bit more visible. We're just going to rotate this around. Actually, we'll do it this way. I'm going to pull it back a little bit. For the spot angles, this will increase the size of the radius of the light, so I'm going to do that just a little bit. Then I'm going to drop the intensity, and then I'm going to go into the exposure and just bring this down, which is going to make an already pretty dark environment obviously a lot darker. We'll do it about there. Hopefully I won't run into too many auto exposure issues here. There's a lot of volumetric fog in this area too, which I find tends to trigger that, so we'll see how this goes. But now that I've got the basic light on her, I'm not going to get too much into character lighting, or this will be like 3 hours long. I'm going to go ahead and you don't have to detach it from the character, but I tend to do this kind of automatically. This right here, the marker, it's going to hide this little triangle right here. That you definitely want to turn off. And then this right here is going to hide the mesh, which is the lights over here. That's not too visible right now, but we'll go ahead and turn that off as well. Okay, so now we've got the basic scene, and obviously that background is very dark, so let's see what we can do to make it a little bit brighter. So I'm going to use Charlie again for this, and this time I'm going to select the entropy light. You can use, so all of these numbers show how many lights will spawn at once. If you want something to be like really bright or really consistent, have more of like a unified lighting, you could choose to spawn more than one. I usually just do one at a time, so we're going to go ahead and do that. But I'm going to rotate this a little bit so that it's kind of off to the side, and then I'm going to use the ring radius and the multiplier to put it more in the background here until you can really start to see the details of the environment. So right about there is fine for demonstration purposes. I like to have very colorful backgrounds, so I am going to use the color options down here. The reshade that I have active right now makes the blue look very purple, but this is actually blue, green and red obviously. We've already got red and blue kind of in the background here, so I'm going to go ahead and just make this one a very warm red. And then I'm going to, again, detach it, hide the marker, and then hide the mesh. You'll notice that there will still be kind of like a circle of where the light mesh is. You can either rotate it more so that that's out of frame, or in an area that's a little less conspicuous. Or you can bring it up a little bit higher, which is what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to increase the intensity a little bit more just to make that really stand out. That's fine. And then I'm going to do the same thing but on the other side and with a different color. So entropy, And then we're going to use the ring radius and the multiplier to put it further back. I'm going to, so this is, I guess, is where a good area or a good example of why detaching the light is useful. The light spawned to automatically rotate around V, which will kind of limit the movement. So once you detach it, you're going to have more movement options down here. So it's detached. I'm going to put this up a little bit higher as well. Do it like that and kind of nudge it a little bit over here. Turn off the other things, and then I'm going to make this like a teal, kind of a blue color, and then also, whoop, too much intensity. 90% of good lighting is just adjusting it a million times until it's kind of where you like it to be. Again, for the purposes of this video, I'm not going to get too particular about it, but right about there is fine. There's a little bit of a glare at the top, but not a big deal. So that's how you can do it with Charlie. I'm going to attempt to do it with the appearance menu area light spawns. I haven't done this method in a while. You'll see probably that I don't think that it works as well as the Charlie method. But we'll see how it goes. So I'm going to despawn the two area light, or the two entropy lights that I did with Charlie just by clicking the little X right here. I'm going to leave the spotlight on Valerie so I don't have to reset that. And now I'm going to go into the appearance menu mod. I'm going to go to the decor tab, and then I'm going to scroll down to ambient lights. These two, the ambient light and the ambient light red, are like relics basically of appearance menu mod decor. I don't think I've ever used them. I'm not entirely sure how they work. Ditto for the ambient light white low intensity. The ones that I focus on are the area light customizable, point light customizable, and spotlight customizable. For lighting up a background, the area light customizable or the point light customizable are going to be your best two options. I'm going to try the area light to start, and we're going to see how this goes. So as soon as you click on any item in the decor tab, it will automatically spawn, and you will get the target tools menu to pop up. And let's see where it spawned. This is kind of yep, okay, there we go. So now we're gonna mess around with this until we can get it all the way in the back. And I'm sure you can probably already see why I don't like this nearly as much as Charlie. So once it gets too far back there, it's a good idea to go ahead and, actually hang on, sorry, I kind of jumped the gun there. Go down to open light settings, and then it's gonna bring up this menu right here. I'm going to increase the radius just kind of arbitrarily. This just, in theory, increases the size and the spread of the area light. I find that like at a certain point it doesn't do much more, even though you can keep just increasing it. And then I'm going to increase the intensity until we can start seeing some of that background. So as you can see, the background is lighting up. I'm going to do the same thing that I did with Charlie, where I'm going to make the light over here red. Kind of a slightly orange red, because I just think that looks pretty. And then I'm going to close this window just to kind of free up some space, because I have a million things on my screen. And then the same thing as what we did with Charlie, you can just kind of nudge it around until it's where you like it. If you find that this tool right here is kind of getting in your way, which I find that it does a lot, you can disable it by clicking this right here. Just kind of nudge it. So you'll notice that the area light is getting on to her a little bit more than the entropy light, which isn't a bad thing, but I would probably If I was doing like a character lighting thing, I would be starting to kind of adjust the lighting on her so that she's not quite so red. Could also decrease the intensity, and that'll probably help a little bit too. So there's that one. Close the window. There is a mod that will let you like position these in a way, all your different tools, so they don't move around all the time. I keep forgetting to download it, but if you're like me and you have a bunch of stuff like here, it's worth finding. Anyway, so we've got the red light here. Now to kind of theoretically save myself some time, I'm going to clone this light, which should generate it in the same spot, more or less. Let's see if it... Sometimes when you clone lights, the intensity, as you can see, drops really, really low. So I'm going to increase that kind of excessively, and then I'm going to make this kind of that teal bluish color. And let's see if we can find the arrows. Or at least kind of get it into an area that I like. It looks like it might be low. It is low. Okay. So here's a good example of why I don't always love the area lights. You can see back here that it'll create kind of like a capsule reflection if it gets too close to very reflective surfaces. A lot of times you can get rid of it just by positioning it differently, but sometimes it just glares and it's really, really annoying. So I'm gonna just kind of adjust this a little bit. And again, like I said earlier, 90% of good lighting is experimenting. So we're gonna decrease the intensity a bit. You can also rotate the all the lights, and sometimes that can kind of help with that like capsule shape. So that's a little less conspicuous there. So anyway, there you go. That is another way that you can light up a background with the AMM lights. And I didn't touch on this in either recording, but in case it needs to be said, obviously you can do this method with as many or as few lights as you would like. I do tend to go for kind of like a complementary color scheme a lot of the times, or maybe kind of analogous. So you know, I like the orange and green, or orange and blue. Pink and blue are always very pretty combinations. Red and blue tends to work a lot just because of Valerie's hair. And then, you know, obviously I do a lot of stuff with the Arasaka theme, which leans towards red. So yeah, you can experiment with this a lot. You can throw in, like I said, just as many or as few colors as you would like. But yeah, that is it. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'll do my best to answer or further explain. The format of the YouTube comment section may make answering some more technical questions a little difficult. I do try to provide visual information as often as I can. But I'm always more than happy to answer questions about my process and explain things as best as I can. So that is it. Thanks for watching.